Okay, let's have a little ranty Sunday video. So the other night I was doing my skincare routine and I was noticing how many of the products that I use and I love are from really small indie brands, sometimes like literally one-person operation brands, and how few of the products that I use are from like the really big brands, the really hype brands, the ones that you would see outside of the skincare industry. And that got me thinking a lot. This is why I promised in my stories the other day that we would talk about what makes me so cynical about this industry. So this is what it is. If you pay attention to any industry, any vertical, you'll realize that this happens everywhere. The skincare industry isn't run by cosmetic chemists. It's not run by really talented formulators. It's not even run by like people that found one thing that was great for their skin and really wanted to share it. The skincare industry, like every other industry, is run by MBAs. It's run by business people. It's run by marketers. And so, what happens and what has made me more and more cynical over time is watching really, really great, really unique brands and products get shafted because if it's a really small indie brand, they just don't have the money to run the kinds of campaigns that get brands put in Sephora, in Rite Aid, in Target, or whatever if they don't have like, oh, a big creator as the face of the product, as the face of the brand. If they don't have a bunch of VC funding to staff like a full marketing team, most of the times, if lightning doesn't strike, they don't get the exact right person or investor's attention, then it's never going to happen. And that makes me really cynical because there's so many great products that it's like just us that are the hardcore enthusiasts that even know about. Meanwhile, the mainstream is just full of really, really mediocre, really basic, a lot of times very unoriginal, like just white label products. And those are the ones that get so much hype. And those are the ones that get so much airtime. And those are the ones that get successful. And I can rant about it. I mean, it's not going to change anything because this is just the way of capitalism anyway. And beauty is by no means immune to capitalism, but it can be upsetting. So we'll talk a little bit more about this. The job that I took is in an industry that I worked in before I got into beauty. It's in digital marketing. So I have some background and some knowledge of the kinds of tricks and methods that are used to shape influence, to grow a platform. And I know how divorced those tricks and those tactics are from the actual quality of the product or the uniqueness of the product. So, one thing that I see a lot is brands targeting people who don't know very much about skincare. This is how you might see a brand like OneSkin that's selling sunscreen and has content on their page in their ads that pushes the idea that a little goes a long way. That's not a narrative about sunscreen that would fly to us because we know how sunscreen protection is measured. We know that it's pointless to use sunscreen in a little goes a long way quantities, but we're not the ones being targeted. The people being targeted are people outside of the skincare enthusiast community who don't know, who think that sounds great, who like their knowledge of sunscreen is that it's shitty, it feels gross. I want a sunscreen that I don't have to use a lot of because that's what they know. So that's that targeting and that marketing that has nothing to do with whether it's actually going to be good for your skin or not. There's a lot of brands that you can see target people who don't know much about skincare because they will tout like the most basic familiar kinds of formulas. It's like hyaluronic acid and fruit extracts that you can find in any product, especially any Korean product that are just like so normal. But these brands will push their products to people that don't know a lot about skincare, aren't familiar with ingredients, so they think that it sounds exciting and they'll pay like $50 for a moisturizer that has hyaluronic acid and plum extracts. Um, so I watch that happening. I get frustrated. I think pretty much every creator in our bubble of people that have been around for a long time and that really, really, really put effort into wanting to communicate true things and helpful things about skincare. It's frustrating that no matter what we do, like there's always going to be more of a market that doesn't know a lot about it. Like outside of our bubble, most people are outside of our bubble. Most people don't know 2 milligrams per square centimeter of skin for sunscreen. Most people don't know a quarter teaspoon, 3 fingers, whatever, even 2 fingers. Most people don't know hyaluronic acid is in everything. Most people don't know niacinamide is in everything. That these things that are often marketed to them as like these amazing, cutting edge, innovative, like life-changing ingredients are not. And most people don't realize just because a brand has some like YouTube dermatologist or a big influencer as the face of the product doesn't mean that it's better than other products. It doesn't even necessarily mean that the person that represents it had that much to do with the creation of the products, with the formulas. A lot of times it's really, really, really white label. It's existing formulas that were functionally like chosen from a catalog, and some little like unique touches were added, like, oh, let's put in this extract instead of that extract to make it our own. And that's where the formulas come from. Most people don't know this stuff, so they will buy into the hype. I think it was on my threads, I was talking about how partnering with creators who are known for lying to their audiences is an instant way for me to tell that the brand doesn't really care about their customer trust. And I recognize I'm talking about the brand doesn't care about us, people that are kind of like really clued in just because we love this space and we love the products, we love the people in the community. They don't care about us. And that's like, I don't want to say that it's fine, because obviously I wouldn't be having a rant about it if it was. I will say it's understandable, because if you just care about us in this community, you won't really get that far, probably. We are a very small community compared to just the mass market. If you want to make a lot of money, you have to target the mass market. So the mass market doesn't know or doesn't care about the same things that we know and care about. And that kind of leads me back to the fact that our industry and the skincare industry is driven by the profit motive. It's not driven by us. It's not driven by real skincare enthusiasts who spend time like trying to understand studies, or, watching Lab Muffin explain things and break things down. The industry and its profit motive are driven by people that consume like a skincare ad from a creator that has nothing to do with skincare. It's like 30-second ad or something, and that if it gets like 6 million views versus say like 500,000 for someone that's really big within our community, that creator that like it's not their field and they're just passing on the brand messaging, but the ones outside of us who get like the 6 million, 10 million views, like that's what's going to move product and that's what's going to move the needle. So I watch this and I understand it. Like I get it, because money is what keeps the industry running to begin with. Like I see the choices that the MBAs make. I see the choices that the marketing team makes, and I get it, but it makes me mad, because it's just this endless cycle of bullshit, and it's this endless cycle of like misinformation, bad information, people wasting their money on products that are the equivalent of things that we know you can get for like 15 bucks, and they're paying like 50 for something of equivalent quality. That just bothers me. So that is the cynicism that I have towards the industry, is just watching, like, I browse Sephora.com. I browse the app. And there's some good stuff on there, right? Like, I'm obviously not opposed to some bigger brands or brands that are part of like large conglomerates. Like, I love Sawasu. You know, I use a lot of Innisfree. It's not that I only use products from indie brands, but over the last few years, just like more and more, I see how shafted the really unique indie brands are just because they don't have the marketing resources, they don't have the marketing teams, they don't have the MBAs to tell them how to position the products and to push the products out to the mass market. Like, these brands target us, the indie brands I'm talking about, they target us within the community because that's where their creators come from. And it results in some beautiful, amazing products. And it also results in like struggle because these brands just don't get to the same level as the ones that are selling like hyaluronic acid products for $60 to the mass market. Makes me a little bit bitter. So, anyway, with the end of this rant, I felt like I should show some of the indie products that I really, really love. If you follow me like pretty closely, you'll be familiar already, but I want to do it anyway because these are the brands and the people that I'm still in here for. These are the ones that I love and that I always want to support and be visibly associated with. You know, Poems from the Lab, Future Focus Vitamin C Serum. This is my friend Steven, kind of Steven, cosmetic chemist. Like, this is one of my examples of like an ultimate indie formulator. Like, Steven made this himself over years and years and years of trying to get it right when we know that vitamin C serums are really difficult. And this is up against like vitamin C serums from some larger brands where if you look at it closely, it like it's some fucking fruit extract and maybe like 2% ascorbic acid or a derivative. Like, it's up against these vitamin C serums that don't even really have an effective amount of vitamin C in them, but because of the way that those are positioned and marketed versus this one, I feel the mass market is going to go for those like, you know, pineapple extract vitamin C serums, vitamin C serums. So it's frustrating. So I hate that. And I love this. Similarly, as Holy Snails, my friend Shell, who made shark sauce because of me, because I wanted a really good niacinamide serum that has like seaweed in it. And this is another example of a real, true indie, like one person operation that Shell comes up with these formulas from scratch. They're not like white label. They're not base formulas from some supplier that she just added a few things to. Like, this is made with love by someone who loves skincare and wanted to make a really, really great product. And so seeing this versus just niacinamide being thrown in everything at God only knows what tiny, tiny concentration, again, it makes me mad, makes me real frustrated. And then, like, with less rage, Mizan, I got back into their products because I had tried some of their newer lines, and then I remembered how much I used to love their like brown jar snail products. So I've got those back in my routine, and I was talking to a bunch of people that recognized Mizan, and I was just like, it's such a trip that they're still around because this is a really small brand too. They, as far as I know, they've never been acquired by like a more Pacific group or anything else. A tiny, tiny brand, but like, for them to be around after all this time means that they are doing something right within the community. They have loyal customers, but at the same time you never hear about them outside of this community. So I wanted to give that shout out. And in more so in terms of like smaller brands that do have a little bit more of a corporate structure to them, 107 is my friend Chloe's brand. It's been around for years and years. I met Chloe like in 2017, maybe. They've rebranded since then, but it's always been about the traditionally brewed vinegar that she puts in these products, and they're still amazing. And they have that ethos of like creating really great products that are unique. They're based around like this specific theme. It's not just creating products because like a marketing department said to do it. It's creating products because they feel that they're right. They fit for the brand and they fit for their customers. We're also like very niche, very indie. Like this is a very within this community kind of brand, which I love. And I remember when 107 was gaining some traction in Korea that like people would tell me this is like their cream essence that they had within the like first few years of the brand was something that models were using. And so that's one of those like little hipster, well-kept secret kind of brands. I just respond so much better to brands that have that human touch instead of like the marketer touch. And then also I have to, because I have to do this tonight anyway, pray the bond repair product that I use on my hair is like, I was lucky enough to kind of start partnering with them when they launched beginning of last year and have like nothing but good things to say about them and their very small team. Sarah, I love you if you are watching this far because I see we're at 16 minutes now. I've had like the privilege of being able to talk with the founder, Eric Presley, about the products and to understand like how much crazy chemistry went into creating something that can get into your hair and fix the broken hair bonds, the broken protein bonds. So that's really cool. So all I'm saying is that there is a difference between brands that out of the gate are targeting the mass market, the ones that you'll see sponsoring like influencers that have nothing to do with skincare, no prior, like you know that they don't really know that much about it and they're just kind of repeating what they're told by the brand. There's a difference between the brands that target the mass market and the brands that are like here for us, that are created by someone who's one of us and that are made to serve the needs of people like us. So as I like continue moving on and figuring out what place content creation is going to have in my life, the thing that makes me so cynical about the industry is the same thing that keeps me coming back. Because as long as I can have like one voice and some views to talk about these type of brands, like that makes it kind of worth it. Because I know a lot of you have been like told me that you found holy snails through me, or you tried poems from the lab future focus because of me and you love it. Okay, that's good. So it keeps you away from getting not ripped off. It keeps you away from spending too much money or spending time on products that aren't made to be effective, but they're just made to be sold, if that makes sense. So anyway, I'll put a little list of the stuff that I shared at the end in the caption. And I also realized that like I care about the whole indie thing, the whole maker thing, way beyond just skincare. Like I have shared my friend Nick's brand, Full Circle Geek, before. I love like one person brands. It's hard work. It's like that's how you work yourself into the grave. But just we need more products and brands that are human and just a lot fewer that are made in the marketing department, if that makes sense. Thanks for watching, guys. I know this is long.